In this video, I'll show you how to create your build program by entering the start date and selecting a build program template. I'll talk you through setting the daily and weekly schedule for the chart, and I'll demonstrate how to view a selected timescale or selected tasks on the chart. Then I'll explain how to change the start date or length of individual tasks. Finally, I'll show you how to print or export your build program. Before you open the build program, try to ensure you've finished your estimate or drawing, as any changes to the estimate will not automatically appear in the build program. Also, click Check Estimate to ensure your estimate is complete and free from errors. Once you've done that, click on the build program on the Project Explorer. The first time you navigate to the build program, you'll need to build or create the build program by entering a few details. A dialog box pops up, prompting you to enter some key information. Select a start date by clicking on the drop-down box. On the calendar tool which pops up, click through the months using the arrows. And then click on the desired start date. Then select a build program template from the drop-down box. The typical build program is included with the software. The template determines the order of the build phases in the Gantt chart and their dependencies. For example, our typical build program assumes that the masonry shell and roof need to be completed before windows and doors are installed. If you were building a masonry skinned timber frame building, you might want to make the building weathertight and begin the internal works before starting on the masonry skin. You could set up a new build program in your library to reflect this. Click Next. The next dialog box asks you to enter the number of labourers who will be working on site. Click into the quantity column adjacent to the labourer type and use the arrows to increase or decrease the number, as required to reflect the gang sizes you will be using. These gang sizes are used to calculate the length of each taskbar in the chart, based on the information contained in the estimate. Once you've adjusted your gang sizes, click Finish. BuildingWorks takes a couple of moments to build your build program. On the left-hand side, you'll see the task list, and on the right-hand side, you'll see the Gantt chart. You can scroll across the task list and Gantt chart using the scroll bars at the bottom of the screen. You can resize the task list and Gantt chart by hovering your mouse over the border in between the two windows until a double-ended arrow appears, then holding down the left mouse button to drag the border. If your start date gets put back or moved forward, you can change the start date by clicking the Start Date button. Select an alternative date, and once you're done, click OK. After a moment, your build program will be updated. Now let's take a look at the schedule. Click on the Schedule button, and here you can set the daily work schedule. You can change the start and finish times by clicking into the input boxes and over-typing the times. Alternatively, you can click into an input box and use the up and down arrow keys on your keyboard to change the times. You can add a second time period for a day if you need one by ticking the tick box and entering the times of the second period. You can also add hours for Saturday and Sunday if required. Once you're done, click OK. There are several ways in which you can change the view of the chart using the Timescale section of the tab. You can select a different timescale using the Timescale drop-down box. You can zoom in and out of the chart using the Zoom drop-down box. You can view a specific date range by clicking the Date Range button and entering a start and end date. That's useful when you're partway through a job. You can also view selected tasks. For example, to view the tasks relating to foundations and footings only, hold down the Shift key on your keyboard, click on the foundation and footing tasks, and then click the Selected Tasks button. Only the foundations and footings will appear on the Gantt chart. To show all the tasks again, click the All Tasks button. You can use the Show Hide button to decide whether you want to show elements such as non-working days, task interruptions, and resource allocation indicators. You can also choose whether or not you want to display the task dependency arrows. Those are the grey arrows which show which tasks are dependent on others being completed. You can easily change the start date or end date of a task, or move a task altogether on the chart. Note that altering the task lengths does not change the labour calculations in the estimate. It helps if the timescale is set to week/day and you've zoomed in, so you can clearly see the days and weeks on the chart. Hover your mouse over a task to see the task name and labourers assigned to it, if applicable. To increase the length of a task, hover your mouse over the end of the bar until a double-headed arrow appears. Then, holding down the left mouse button, stretch the task until it reaches the desired date. To move a whole task forwards or backwards, hold down the left mouse button on the bar and drag it into its new position on the chart. Any changes will cascade through the later tasks. To add a task dependency arrow, hold your cursor over the end of the task until the cursor changes to a pencil. Hold down the left mouse button and move your cursor to the dependent task. Once the dependency arrow appears, release the left mouse button. Once you've finished editing your build program, you're ready to print it. Click the print button. A dialog box pops up asking whether you want to print the task list, the chart, or both. Select the option you want, and then click OK. In the print dialog box, select the printer you want to use, enter the number of copies, and click Print. You can also export the build program as a project file or an image file. Click the Export button and select a file type from the drop-down menu. Again, select whether you want to export the task list, the chart, or both, and then click OK. Check you're happy with the file name and location, and then click Save. You can then open the file and folder where you saved it. Remember, if you make any changes to your estimate or drawing, those changes won't filter down automatically to your build program. For example, if you added some demolition to your estimate, the demolition build phase would not automatically be added to the build program. If, after producing a build program, you decide to add or alter the estimate or drawing, you'll need to rebuild the chart for these changes to be shown, using the Rebuild button. Rebuilding the build program will reset any edited bar lengths back to those calculated from the estimate. Over to you. Create a build program for your job. Navigate to the build program on the Project Explorer and enter the start date and other information to build your build program. Set the daily schedule by clicking the Schedule button. Use the Timescale section of the tab to view the build program as you wish. Amend the start and end date of tasks by dragging the ends of the taskbars on the chart. Move tasks by holding down the left mouse button and dragging them along the chart. Once you're happy with your build program, print or export it using the respective buttons on the Build Program tab.